week on BMG Radio, he's looking at the Circles of Gold edition. Oh yeah. Wonder what that could be about. No, I don't, because it's about Kingsman. You know it is. I know it is. It's okay. Also, we're going to be looking at top 10 movies of 2007 and a bunch of other stuff. Let's get to it. Brought to you by the Better Movie Guy. Hi, the Better Movie Guy. This is BMG Radio for this week's Circles of Gold edition, which basically is Kingsman, the Golden Circle. So, as always, if I've seen a new movie, I'm going to talk about that off the top. If you want to only hear that and then turn off the rest of me, not rambling, go ahead. So yeah, let's get right to Kingsman. So, a couple years ago, Kingsman came out. The Kingsman, the Secret Service. And it was a movie that no one was expecting and everyone loved, pretty much, almost universally. I saw it with my daughters, which was a whole other thing, and I'm not going to explain it right now, but it's just, I didn't realize it was going to be as bloody and languagey as it was. But it was, so, and they use that as an excuse now whenever I say, but I don't know, and they go, we saw Kingsman. So, Kingsman 2.0, The Golden Circle. We went and saw this as a family, because, you know, they saw the first one, so they're going to see this one. And I'll start it right off the top. Is this as good as Kingsman, the first one? No, it's not. It's not. Kingsman was just, it was a total surprise. Seeing Colin Firth as a badass was a bit of a shock, I think. Taron Egerton was unknown then. No one knew who the heck he was. And so it's like, and it came out of the blue. And I think that's part of the reason why it works so well. This one carried over a lot of that good stuff, but it's just not as good as that. Mainly because I think, actually, I'll be honest, the villain's not as good. Julianne Moore plays the villain, and she does a good job being villainous, don't get me wrong. She's very villainous, and she's very evil, but not nearly as big time as Samuel Jackson was. Like, what she's doing is not nearly as all-encompassing of the whole world as what he did. And so it's just, like, it's not quite as good. There's not as much there. And some of the twists are a little easy to see coming. But overall, this is a really good, fun movie. The acting, I can't complain with the acting. It works. Taron Egerton has really kind of grown into the character. And even how they bring back, and like you've seen the trailer probably, so you know that they bring back Colin Firth's character. And how they did that actually wasn't bad. Because like he got shot in the head in the last movie and you think he's dead. And how they explain it, it's like, it's interesting. And it's all about the statesman. The statesman saved him, but they didn't know who he was because, of course, you don't know who any of the Kingsmen are because they're that secret. So it's good on those levels. The cast is pretty solid. Channing Tatum is in this, and I'm a little disappointed, not in him, in how much he's in it, because he's not in the movie all that much. They actually kind of like, due to a plot point, he literally gets taken out of the movie where he could have been in the movie and it would have been awesome, but they take him out of the movie and be like, okay, we're going to put him on side, and you don't see him again until the end of the movie. And it's just, it was disappointing because I like Channing Tatum. I think he's a solid actor. He's not a great actor, but he's a solid actor. And this looked like something he would knock out of the park with his wheelhouse, kind of. So, I don't know. It was a little disappointing for that. The action was pretty solid overall. There was a few too many camera moves in some of the, like the end fight scene in particular, went a little overboard. Like, you know the church scene? It kind of did that, but it didn't need to do that for some reasons. I don't know. In the first one, the church scene, you know what I'm talking about. So, but it sounds like I'm slagging this movie, but I'm really not. It was enjoyable. From beginning to end, it was pretty enjoyable. It's just, it's not as good as the first one. But most sequels aren't as good as the first one. Would I want another one? Yes, I would be totally down for a third Kingsman movie, especially because with the Statesman and the Kingsman. But yeah, it's not as good as the first one, but it's definitely enjoyable. I would buy it. I want to see it again. And yeah, it's totally a fun ride. It's just not, it doesn't hold up to that first one, but maybe it's just that first one was such a surprise that it was just like, whoa, I never saw this coming, and now that you see it coming, it's just like, okay, it was good the first time, yeah, still good. Still good, but you know. So yeah, I give it 3.5 beards out of 5. Very solid movie, very enjoyable. And yeah, there's some funny situations in it, especially Taron Egerton has really grown. So there you go. Kingsman, if that's all you wanted to know about, feel free to turn off now. Next up is Trailer of the Week. Yeah, it's our Trailer of the Week. No, I don't got any theme song really for it. No. Trailer of the Week! Anyways, this week, the trailer I wanted to look at was more of a teaser trailer, so it's not a full trailer, but teaser trailers, they're trailers, they're just smaller trailers. It's for a movie that's coming out called Annihilation. This just launched the trailer, I think 2 days ago, maybe 3 days ago from when I'm recording this. And I've watched it like 4 times, still can't tell you what it's freaking about, but what I do know is it's by the guy who wrote and directed Ex Machina, which was a very, very good film. This is based on some kind of beloved book, which, you know, they all are, but whatever. And it stars Natalie Portman and Oscar Isaacs. Sorry, my brain went. I'm like, Oscar De La Hoya. I'm like, wait a minute, it's a boxer. No, it was Oscar Isaacs. And yeah, it's sci-fi. It's got to be sci-fi of some type. I don't understand exactly what it is, and that's the point. Teasers are supposed to show you just enough to go, wow, that looks really cool, and then that's it. It looks really interesting. I'm going to post a link in the description below. Feel free to give it a watch. Let me know what you think. How are you going to see this movie? I'm going to see this movie. I'm not like, yeah, I'm going to go see this movie. The guy, Ex Machina director, I don't know, he seems to know what he's doing, and he had a pretty solid cast. Natalie Portman, when she's not doing Star Wars movies, is usually pretty solid as an actress. Yeah, I said that, and you heard me. I'm not going to go there, though. Anyways, so check out this trailer. Let me know what you think. And let me know if there's any trailers that I haven't seen, or at least I haven't mentioned. I watch most new trailers that come out just because, you know, I'm a movie guy. But, yeah. Annihilation. Tell me what you think. Next up, we got Netflixing, or as the same as last week, Amazon Priming, I guess. But I'm still keeping the logo thing because I'm not making a new one. I continued watching Mr. Robot. I have now finished the first season. I'm into the second season, just started the second season. And my brain got blown up. Wow. It's pretty impressive, let me just say. It's the things that happened in the last 3 episodes. It leaves you confused and amazed and like questioning everything and going back but wait a minute. If they can't, never mind. I don't want to run it for you if you haven't seen it, but let's just say Mr. Robot is a movie. Mr. Robot is a TV show. Gosh darn it. Diggity. But yeah, it's a TV show that is worth seeing. I would recommend it. And, you know, there's some language in there for sure and stuff. But, oh man, Rami Malek, man, he can act. And it's always good to see Christian Slater back in doing anything. Like, I was a fan of his from his younger years. And he kind of went away for a while, so it's nice to see him back doing stuff. But yeah, Mr. Robot. That's it for Netflixing. Now, Netflixing coming up, what we're going to be talking about back again is Stranger Things. Because we're going to be watching that with my daughters in preparation, because they haven't seen it. We've seen it, me and my wife. It's awesome! But we're going to be watching it in preparation for Stranger Things Season 2, which is coming out while I'm away on vacation. So I'm going to be on vacation. When I come back from vacation, I'm going to be like, oh, Stranger Things 2. So that'll be coming up soon, and I'll gladly be talking about that on Netflixing. That's it for Netflixing this week. Yeah, it's a weekly show. Yeah. Next, we're moving on to top 10. So, as I've talked about before, if this is your first time, on letterbox I put the top 10 movies. I actually put the top all movies from each year. I have top lists. They're actually called top whatever year. So this one's 2007. So top 2000 movies, top 2007 movies. There we go. I've seen so far. Now, the reason I label these lists that is because I haven't seen every movie from that year. So, and even though I'm going back pretty far now on the lists, there's going to be ones I haven't seen, and there's going to be ones I never watch. So I can't say best movie of the year all time because I might not watch a movie and it might be the best movie that I didn't know. And so I'm not going to fight anyone. All I'm saying, these are the ones I've seen. And out of the ones I've seen, these are the ones that made the list. There you go. So, yeah, this is a decent year for film. Some of the ones that didn't make the list that came close, we got Lars and the Real Girl, August Rush, The Lookout, Shooter, which is a highly underrated action film, Juno, The Mist, which is a movie I never want to see again, especially the ending, Gone Baby Gone, which is a movie I also never want to see again, even though they're both good movies, and 30 Days a Night and 1408 and 310 to Yuma. Those are all in there, but they didn't make the top 10. So let's get to the top 10. Number 10, There Will Be Blood. Now, I'm not the biggest Paul Thomas Anderson fan, and some of you will now immediately want to turn me off because of that, and you're like, why is it on number 10? And it's just, I'm not his hugest fan. The man has incredible talent. I recognize that. I just, none of it always, like, none of it. I can't say that, but There Will Be Blood, I think, is a really well-made movie, great performances, but there's something about it that didn't just suck me in the way or other films did. I don't know. And because of that, I just, like, I can recognize brilliance, but I can't put it above other things that I think are better. And this is this is my favorite again. These are what I think are the best, not favorite. That'd be a bit of a different list. But yeah, so There Will Be Blood. Daniel Day-Lewis. There you go. Paul Thomas Anderson. Number 9, Sunshine. Yep, this is a highly underrated film. Now, here's the problem with Sunshine. It's one movie, and then it hits a point and turns into a completely different movie. I love the first movie. The first movie is fantastic. Second movie, well, it's one movie, but like the second part of the movie, I don't like as much. There's a second aspect to it. If you've seen the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't like that aspect as much. I wish they wouldn't have gone there, but it does go there. I can't change that. But the movie is still fantastic and needs to be seen by more people. Number 8, Zodiac. Yeah, I gotta watch this movie again because I'm pretty sure it's more brilliant than I gave it the chance of being. I liked it a lot, let me put it that way, but it's kind of long, but it's also Fincher, and Fincher is Fincher. It's got a great cast, and it's just, part of me just held back from loving it. I don't understand. There's people who like think this is one of the best films ever. Zodiac is really great, but it's only my number 8. Number 7, The Bourne Ultimatum. Yep, the end of the Bourne franchise. Yeah, Bourne Ultimatum. So, yeah, that's number 7 on mine. I just loved it, man. I don't know. To me, it was a great way to wrap it up. Seeing the new Bourne movie that came out last year, Jason Bourne. This movie called Jason Bourne was disappointing. Because it's just not as good as these ones. And, yeah, so Bourne Ultimatum. Next up, number 6, Control. Yeah, Control is a film about Ian Curtis, who's the lead singer of Joy Division. Joy Division was a kind of new wave punk metal type band. Like, their instrumentation and music is very particular. They're English. And it's all about how the band was coming together, and then their lead singer kills himself. And it's such, like, movie biopics. It's more like, for music people, it's one of the best I've ever seen. It's just fantastic. Doesn't get nearly enough recognition as far as I can tell. And yeah, I think Control is a film that you should see. If you like Joy Division, you'll love it even more. And it may turn you into a fan. Their music was pretty awesome. They have some pretty amazing songs. You may not, as a biopic goes, this is fantastic. Sticking with music, number 5, Once. Yeah, Once. This is a music film. It's the best musical I've ever seen. Let's put it that way. Why? Because it actually makes sense. I hate musicals. Why do I hate musicals? Because people start singing when they have no need to be singing. People start dancing when there's no need to be dancing. Now, I did see La La Land, and yes, it's wonderful, just like every other person thinks it's wonderful. It is wonderful. But most musicals I hate, and Once is a musical that makes sense because it's about musicians. So they don't just like break out in a song. They like are two people meet, and then they're like talking, and they go into a music store, and he plays a song for her, and she picks up it on the piano, and it's it makes sense why there would be music and why they're singing, and then they get together and make music together and stuff. So it's a musical, but it's not a, it's like, oh, I woke up this morning, I'm gonna sing about it. No, it's not like one of those. So once. Now, the cinematography is not perfect, and like the shaky cam at the beginning especially almost made me turn it off the first time I watched it. Actually, I think it did. And then I rewatched it. But it is so worth it. The story is really good. It's kind of heartbreaking in a lot of ways. And just, and the music's fantastic. Literally fantastic. Love the soundtrack. Next up, number 4, The Diving Bell and the Butterfly. Yeah, this is an interesting movie. It's as far as I remember, based on a true story. Now, I might be wrong, so you can check on that. But it's about a guy who has an ex-wife and a couple kids, and he's driving with his son, I believe, and all of a sudden he has some kind of embolism and like ends up on the side of the road. They pull over, and he ends up in like not a vegetative state, but he basically can't move anything. And so all he can move is his eyes and eyelids, as far as I remember. And so sooner or later they figure out a way to talk to him by a nurse literally sitting there and going through the alphabet, and he has to blink when she says the letter he wants. And he writes a whole book after this about his experiences and what he's going through. It's a fantastic film. Not a fun, fast-paced film, but it is fantastic. It is foreign, so you'll be reading subtitles, just for you to understand. But it is fantastic, and it is, it's pretty uplifting in parts. So, Diving Bell and the Butterfly. A must-watch. Number 3, Elite Squad. Okay, now, if you know City of God, which is a fantastic movie, that kind of, not a sequel, but this is made in the same vein. It's same place. It's about Brazil. Elite Squad is about BOPA, which BOPA is a part of the police department that basically are like a kill squad that are elite guys that don't answer to anyone except their commander, and they're there to try and stop drugs and stuff in Brazil. And like so they don't answer to the gangs. To get in, you have to like prove your loyalty, and you can't basically be beholden to anyone except the police. And it is fantastic. Elite Squad. You have to see this movie. It's a movie that no one knows about. Or I'm sure some people know about it. You might be like, I know about that movie. But if you don't, Elite Squad. It also has a sequel, Elite Squad, The Enemy Within, which is also fantastic. But yeah, Elite Squad. Great freaking movie. Number 2. No Country for Old Men. People go, what? That's not number 1? No, it's not number 1. But No Country for Old Men is a movie. It took me two times watching this to really kind of start to appreciate it. Man, is this a fantastic movie. In so many ways. The acting, the cinematography, the direction, the cliffhangers they leave things on, the way, just the flip a coin, and like just the brutalness of Javier Bardem as a killer. It's fantastic. It's not a fun movie to watch most of the time, but man, is it a good movie. So yeah, it's my number 2 of 2007. But there's one movie that I love more, I think is better, I think deconstructs the, not franchise, what's the word I'm thinking of, everyone? The medium, or deconstructs the genre, there we go, the genre of films, and that is the cop buddy movie, Hot Fuzz. Hot Fuzz is one of Edgar Wright's best films, and most people would probably know that, but it's so good on so many levels. It's like an onion, it's got layers. It's like an ogre that is an onion, and it's got layers. And you peel back the layers. It's got many layers, like my friend Lee would say. He's got layers. Hot Fuzz is so great, and the cast is fantastic, and just there's so many jokes that are so funny, that are so British, that are so awesome. But then it hits on all the tropes of all the action cop movies from over the years that it should hit on, and holds them up, and at the same time makes fun of them, but holds them up and says, yes, they're crazy, but they're great. And yeah, I mean, It's fantastic. It's underappreciated because not enough people know about Fuzz, but it's the #1 movie of 2017 as far as I'm concerned. So there's my list. I will be posting my entire list, a link to my entire list in the description. It'll show you everything from that year. Hold on, let me tell you, because there's a bunch of movies. Oh, hold on, gotta show more. I watched, of course it's going to take a while. Show more. Wow, I watched a lot of movies that year. I didn't watch them all in that year. I have seen 112 movies from 2007. So that's a pretty decent amount of movies that I watched for 1 year. But yeah, 112. So if you want, check out the list. It'll show you all 112 movies and where I've placed them. And I'd like to thank Brian Lomax, who actually went through my list and then told me that In Bruges is way too low on it. And you know what, Brian? I want to thank you, #1, for actually commenting on things and for supporting me, because you're a good bud. But #2, I watched that when I was probably in a bad mood. I think I need to watch it again, because I've heard so many great things about it. And I think I watched it when I was tired and in a bad mood, and I didn't get it. And since then, I've watched other movies from him, the guy who did In Bruges, and I've liked them a lot more. So I think I need to rewatch it, and maybe next time I watch it, it'll end up much higher on that list. But as of right now, that's what I remember it being. Anyways, so that top 2007 movies, check it out or don't. It's, I love you either way. Last up, before I get to questions, we have Letterbox Diary. So this is my Letterbox Diary. This is where I tell you all about the movies that I've been watching this week. And it's going to go quick because I didn't watch that many. It was a busy week. So, alright, so I showed my daughters and wife a documentary on Netflix called Foo Fighters, Back and Forth. Now, I'm a huge Foo Fighters fan. I like Nirvana. I think Foo Fighters is actually a better band. I think Nirvana is a more important band in rock history, but Foo Fighters is actually a better band, and Dave Grohl is a better frontman than Kurt Cobain was. So I'm a big fan of them, and my daughters have been getting into them. And so there's this documentary called Back and Forth on Netflix, and it covers all the way up to one of their albums called Wasting Light, and it does a very good job. You get lots of interviews with band members, past band members, producers, and has a lot of video clips of stuff from the time when it was taken. So it's really well done, and if you're a Foo Fighters fan, it's a must-see. I give it 5.5 17 beards. No, sorry, I give it 4.5 beards. It's really good. Next up, we were able to go and see 2001: A Space Odyssey in theaters. Now, my daughters had never seen anything about this. They didn't know a thing. One of my local theaters occasionally shows movies, older movies. So we did this with The Matrix. We got to go see The Matrix. And last week or 2 weeks ago, and I talked about that. If you keep up with this, if you don't, whatever. But anyways, 2001: A Space Odyssey was one of the ones they were showing, and it was all in the lead up to Blade Runner, the new Blade Runner movie. They're like, "Hey, your sci-fi movies," and I'm like, I've seen this once, I think twice before, but I appreciated it more the second time. But my daughters and I had never seen it. My wife had only seen little parts of it. And so I kind of prepped them and said, listen, this isn't a movie like we've ever watched before as a family, because this isn't. The 2001: A Space Odyssey is not like any movie you regularly watch. Like, it doesn't have a normal plot, it doesn't have the main characters, it doesn't have all those things you normally think of when you think of movies. And because of that, it can be hard to understand, it can be hard to gravitate towards, and many people have told me it's boring. Saying that, my daughters loved it. And like my youngest was like, I immediately get it. I understand everything. Everything's fine. Don't worry about it. And like she explained what she thought it was to me, and I'm like, huh, good for you. I don't know if that's. I think part of the thing is you're not supposed to know exactly what the thing was and all this kind of thing. But she had a theory, and she was quite happy. And both of them were like, wow, that was great. And they gave it 5 beards out of 5, and I give it 5 beards out of 5. It's not a movie that I'm going to compare to other movies. It gets 5 because of what it is. It reminded me a bit of Close Encounters of the Third Kind, in that Close Encounters of the Third Kind, the story wasn't great, like an amazing story, but the visuals made up for it. Well, in this one, the visuals more than make up for it, but the story is what it is, and you either accept it and just run with that, or go with the flow, or you're gonna sit there being all pissed off. I sat there and enjoyed it, and watching it on a big screen is beautiful, and the sound and it was cool. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, that was cool. 5 beards out of 5. That night I had my boys over, and we watched. I showed them my, or I told them about the Punisher thing I talked about last week, and we showed the trailer, and none of them, or most of them, hadn't seen the Punisher, the Thomas Jane version. And so with that, I was like, let's watch the Punisher. And so we watched the Punisher. That's a seriously underrated movie. People seem to hate this movie. I hear people that, oh, the Punisher was stupid. And I think it was a really solid movie. It's not bad. There's some cheesiness, and most of that comes on the part of Travolta, not Thomas Jane. And especially the end cheesy thing with the giant skull. And like, I wish that wasn't there. But a lot of it's actually pretty solid and not crazy. And it's just, I liked it. I really like it. I think it's 3, I give it 3.5 beards out of 5. It's a very solid movie, much more than I think it gets credit for. And I would have really liked to have seen what Thomas Jane could have done with the Punisher. They gave him the script for the second one, the Warzone one, and he was like, no. And the director did the same thing. He said, nope. And they went, okay, fine, we'll get someone else. And he made a short, which I showed to my boys, called Dirty Laundry, or Laundry Day. I think it's called Laundry Day. I can't remember. Dirty Laundry or Laundry Day. But just type in Punisher Laundry. You'll find it. And he made it out of his own pocket, apparently. Got some people together and made a Punisher short about him doing laundry and hitting some people with a bottle. And yeah, it's vicious and awesome, and just made me wish that he got to continue being the Punisher. The new show looks great. Don't get me wrong, John Bernthal looks awesome. But I wish I would have loved a sequel with Thomas Jane to see what they would have done moving forward without having to do the origin story again. Alright, and last up was Kingsman. And you know what I think of Kingsman because I already talked about that. So that's it for that. Last up we have Q&A. And Q&A, I got a comment from Brian Lomax. We'll start with that, my boy, Brian Lomax. My mate from England. Yeah. Kraken. Anyways, Kraken. He says he wanted me to talk about classic movies that get called classic movies. He just wanted me to talk about, that's a classic movie, and he thinks certain ones are not. The one he particularly put out, and I will link to his video, okay, on why he doesn't like this. It's his review for it. But I can kind of see where he's coming from, and but I have a friend who will disagree. But he thinks Planet of the Apes, the one with Charlton Heston, is not a classic movie. He thinks it's not good, really, and it's been given a status it does not deserve. And so he wanted to know if I had any films like that. And I started poking around on the internet and looking, and I finally came to one that I was like, yeah, that's definitely one that I hear the word classic put about it a lot, and I hate it, and I think it's a terrible movie, and for many reasons, and that is Breakfast at Tiffany's. I don't know, I've heard it's a classic. Oh, it's so classic. Listen, I get that Audrey Hepburn was pretty and stuff, but her character is vapid and stupid. The plot is dumb, and there's super racist stuff in there with Mickey Rooney playing a Japanese guy. It's like, the plot is dumb, the characters are awful, everything about it's pretty much, like, other than her looking pretty, the movie sucks. And but I hear people talk about, oh, it's a classic movie. Classically bad, sure, it's awful. And so I'm, where Brian's at with Planet of the Apes, I'm at with Breakfast at Tiffany's. There's probably more if I had time to think of them. There's certain movies I think are overrated, but not necessarily like bad the same way and stuff. And so yeah, but Breakfast at Tiffany's is definitely one that I hated that movie, and I don't think it deserves to be a classic. I think it deserves to, well, I'm not going to say, but we'll just say not be seen anymore. Okay, we'll put it that way. So that's that. And last question I had from Mark Eric Bardeux. And he wanted me to talk about the new Teen Titans show. Now, I knew they were doing a new Teen Titans show. I think it's a continuation, I think. But I'm not even sure. I've only heard bits and pieces of casting and stuff and what's it going to be. But apparently he's telling me that it's going to be on a DC kind of like Netflix type subscription service. And which I don't understand because like I'm not going to pay extra. I'll just wait for them to put it on DVD or Blu-ray and then buy it and watch it that way. But so I'm interested. I want to see it. I loved Young Justice. I thought Young Justice was great. I thought Teen Titans, the original show, was great. Teen Titans Go, I'm not even talking about it. So it doesn't exist in my world. So, yeah, so there's your answers. I don't really know too much about the new thing. I'm interested, but not interested enough to pay like $8 a month to watch it. So I don't pay for Game of Thrones. It's like I'm not about to freaking start paying for Teen Titans. So with that, his other question was, he was asking about continuity in movies and does it bother me when they change things? And so what he's pointing out in particular is Kylo Ren gets a scar on his face that looks a little goofy in the end of Force Awakens, and from what he can tell, it's gone, or at least it looks different in the new one in The Last Jedi. And what do I think about that? Now, continuity bothers the crap out of me when they mess with continuity. But you can, as long as they address that they're changing continuity, it can be okay. So here's how you do this. Like in the Matrix movie, in the third movie, they changed the actress for the Oracle because the other one died. Unfortunately, she passed away. And so they had a new actress come in. And now they could have just let it go and continue and everyone act like that was the same lady. But they addressed it in the plot of the Matrix. And they kind of said, they're like, why do you look different? And she's like, because I had to do something and I had to pay a price. And because of that, I don't look the same as I used to. And this is the price I paid. I thought that was smart. That was like a good way to work the continuity that she looks different. So if they want, they could freaking take the scar off Kylo Ren's face altogether. And all they got to do is say, wow, it's amazing what science has done with that whole skin grafting thing. You can't even see, like, that's all you got to do. Is like when he takes off his helmet the first time, have a guy go, the scar has been, like, that medical procedure worked well on the scar. And they go, well, yeah, boom, there you go. No scar, no issue. It's been dealt with in continuity. But if he just doesn't have one or they've changed it and they never address it, that will bother me a little bit. Not majorly, because that doesn't bother me majorly, but it will bother me a little bit. And it's something I think when you have a franchise as big as Star Wars, you can take the extra 5 minutes and have a line of dialogue thrown in there so geeks will not freak out on you. It's that easy. Makes geeks happy. Makes geeks happy. Makes geeks happy, people. Make the geeks happy. Because you realize people are going to catch on that crap. They're going to be like, hey, why does he not have a scar? And why is no one talking about the fact that he doesn't have a scar? And it's simple. Again, address it with one line of dialogue. Just, oh, that scar is healed nicely. That new surgery worked well. Boom, there you go. Oh, and one last question that came in under the wire. Actually, I stopped recording, uploaded stuff, and then noticed a thing on Twitter, so I'm gonna do it anyways. So Adele at Adele Drover on Twitter asked me my thoughts on Flatliners. And so I actually responded to her, but I'm gonna do it in this video anyways because she was nice enough to ask. The original movie Flatliners I like. My wife is a huge fan of it, but I like it. I think it's well done. I think it has a good cast. I don't think it needed to be remade, but like everything else, it's getting remade. So the new one, it looks like they're making it a lot darker than the original, like a heck of a lot darker. But I don't know, like I'm a big fan of Ellen Page, and I don't know, it could be good. Like I like to think she'd do something good, but I don't know. I'm not looking forward to it, but I'm sure I'll see it sooner or later. But most of the time, with most remakes, I would much rather just watch the original. So, like, you take almost 95% 99% of the remakes out there, and it's just like, oh, if you give me, if I have both of them sitting side by side, I'm gonna pick the original to watch. There's only a few that I'll pick the other one, but then I'll still want to watch the original probably. There's a few that the original, like, sometimes the remakes are better, sometimes. Thing, I'm guessing. I haven't watched the original yet, but I don't know. But yeah, so yeah, thank you for your question, Adele. I haven't seen the new one. I will see it sooner or later, but probably not soon, or probably later. So, and she responded and said that she hadn't seen it yet, but she thinks most people are unimpressed with it. So, or not really impressed with it. So, thank you for your question. So that's it for BMG Radio this week. Thank you guys so much for paying attention, for listening, for putting me on in the background and chopping your vegetables for dinner. I don't know, whatever you're doing. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening. And it's just, let me know. Is there anything you'd like me to talk about? Is there any questions you have you want me to talk about? Is there any topics? Is there anything? And I'm not getting a lot of feedback, and I'll be honest, but I'm still enjoying doing this, so I'm going to keep doing it anyways. But thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And until next time, stay bearded. And as always, your thoughts ever.